AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to a bonus edition of Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart, you're listening to the number one Millwall podcast. Of course, in the wake of Saturday's magnificent 4-0 result over our near neighbours in SE7 Charlton. A pretty decisive victory, I think everyone will agree. I got to thinking, this ahead of this little bonus edition, it's going to feature mostly the voicemails, the remainder of the voicemails that I couldn't fit into the previous show. But I got to thinking about the whole Millwall and Charlton thing. It's a strange one-sided derby, dear listeners. Very odd numbers, in truth. 38 wins for the line and now 28 draws and just 12 victories for Charlton since 1921 in all competitions. One of those wins for Charlton includes an Anglo-Italian Cup win in the early 90s. I don't know of any other local derby, tell me if you know different, that features such a one-sided nature to it. And I can't quite fathom out why it would be so. What is it that overwhelms Charlton so when they come to play Millwall? Just 12 or 11 league wins, let's put it better, because I'm going to discount the Anglo-Italian fixture. 11 league wins since 1921. That's an incredibly low score. Most local derbies, give or take, will feature rough, equal splits between wins, losses and draws, just in the nature of the beast, isn't it? But for some reason, this fixture is it's over 30 years now since they've beaten us at all. And as I say, those numbers since 1921 do their own talking. It is, as I say, a strange one-sided affair. I got to thinking about Charlton. I was brought up in Mottingham in southeast London, born in Bermondsey, but the family moved out quite early in my life. I can just about remember Bermondsey, the flats. But we moved out to Mottingham. And by a long stretch, the easiest journey to go and watch football with my mates would have been Charlton for me. Listen, it's one of those near misses of life, isn't it? When I first went to a football match, it was with mates, and Millwall just happened to be doing well that season, 1972, as I've said quite a few times now across these shows. And it was just sheer chance that a mate in class said, "Do you want to go football?" I loved football back then. I used to love watching Match of the Day, all of the big names on TV, Manchester United, Liverpool, Leeds, you name them. These were the big teams of the late 60s, early 1970s. And, big match, all that kind of thing. So you'd follow football. I couldn't claim to be a particular fan of any particular club. I suppose my eye would have been drawn to the glamour side, such as United and Liverpool and so on. But anyway, we finished up going as a group of 11-year-olds to Millwall in 1972 on the train from Elmstead Woods up to New Cross, and the rest of my life is history. But I did go to the Valley soon afterwards, actually, because I just loved the whole experience of going to football matches. I think all of us know the genuine buzz and excitement of the live match. And Charlton was an easier journey. It was a 161 bus route from the top of our road, Elmstead Lane, and you'd go to Woolwich and walk down or get another bus if you had money, but mostly we'd walk it from Woolwich down to Charlton. And the first game that I went to at the Valley was probably fairly soon after I first went to Millwall, which was in Easter in 1972. Because, Charlton would play at home one week, Millwall would play at home the next. That's how football fixtures were organised. And there was certainly no question of me or my mates going away at that age. You didn't have the money. It wasn't even a thing. So if you could go to football weekly, you'd have to choose another club to go and watch. And although I'd never counted myself as anything other than being a Millwall fan, go and watch Charlton just to see some football, really. And I remember going there. We actually climbed in over the fence at the Sam Bartram entrances, which are kind of up high in the old valley. Anyone that remembers it knows it was a huge stadium, terraced stadium, and up in the heights there you could there were brambles and bushes, and we finished up climbing in. There we are. I think there's a statute of limitations on these things now. But yeah, I went with mates from Castlecombe School, and the thing that struck me, I suppose the point of my little monologue here is, superficially at least, Charlton back then, certainly, and Millwall back then, were located in fairly industrialised areas. The Thames and the wharves and the yards, all related to an industry. There's a big, I think it's still there, there's a big kind of concrete plant of some sort there, and that would obviously require water to and fro the freight in and out of the place. And I remember going there and thinking to myself, superficially at least, these are two very, very similar clubs in terms of location, both South East London clubs. Millwall then in what was still just about the Surrey docks, was still just about in existence at that point, and Charlton were located further downriver basically, so there wasn't much to choose in that sense between the two sides. It did become apparent to me though, as a kind of a reasonably regular attendee in those early 70s days, that there was a very different feeling in terms of the crowd at Millwall versus Charlton, and some things you can barely put your finger on. And I remember, well, as a kid, thinking to myself that you heard a lot more quite extreme swearing at the Den. It felt a lot more edgy. There was always a sense that trouble could kick off at any point, and it was just harder edged. And I took to that in a way that I couldn't quite get clicking with at Charlton, because the memory that always stands out with me from those far off days over 50 years ago is at the Den you'd get blokes absolutely ripping the backside out of Millwall players and opponents if their performance was anything less than 100% committed. Still so to this day, listeners, isn't it? It's what we all love about the place. Whereas I remember going to Charlton, though, I can't remember who they were playing. It might have been Gillingham, but I could be wrong. A seaside tub, might have been Brighton. And a guy in front of me was tearing into one of their players. It might have been Colin Powell or someone of that ilk. I remember they had a player called Arthur Horsfield as well back then. I don't think it was him. And he was calling him a nana for making a misplaced pass. That was as extreme a word. I might have told that story before, listeners. And one of the pitfalls of old age is you start to repeat your stories. So forgive me if you've heard that one before. But a nana. That was a word I never heard at the Den. That much is for sure. So yeah, there we are. Time stories from the days when dinosaurs ruled the earth. The thing I probably want to stress to younger listeners is that football back then was slightly less tribal. You certainly supported your club, and I always called myself a Millwall fan. But it was less. I think social media has kind of introduced an edge to the fixture, and you saw it with some of the footage from Saturday. People making cutthroat gestures, despite being quite safely ensconced in the away end, and pointing and shouting. It never used to have that kind of edge to it. They're a very, very different club in the sense of it was far less edgy. I can't think of an appropriate word I'm speaking now, but that was the difference in feeling between Millwall and Charlton. So over the years, I've never quite escaped this strange feeling that we are quite linked as two sets of supporters. Everyone probably listening to this show will know Charlton fans, have members of the family that followed Charlton. Like all local derbies of this kind, you work with Charlton fans, you go to school with them, all sorts of things. You know them friends, your neighbours, all this kind of thing. And yet they are two very, very different clubs, two different sets of supporters from very much the same area. I've always felt that we are kind of two sides of the same coin. I can't put my finger on why that would be, what difference in history, but the personalities of the two clubs are very, very, very different. There we are. That's tales from the days when you could just decide on the day of Saturday that you might go and watch another club, and you might go and watch Charlton and just pitch up and pay on the turnstiles. These were the far off days when dinosaurs ruled the earth, dear listeners. Now then, enough old waffle from me. Trips down memory lane. We have a terrific 4-0 win to celebrate, and every prospect, in my opinion, of at least playoff football and potentially higher. So let's get into our voicemail contributions. These are the ones I couldn't include in the other show. And we're going to begin with a very welcome return. It's a very familiar voice. It's Harry. Welcome back, H.
Well, good morning, dear listeners. Harry Warren here. It's been a while since I've called in because every time I seem to call in, we lose. So, unfortunately, if that happens again, I apologise. Look, beating Charlton yesterday 4-0. I mean, look, we're very, very good, aren't we? I think if you take the whole week in sort of looking at it from a broader sense, we've played Coventry. I think very unluckily didn't get something from Coventry, if not all 3 points at Coventry. And, you know, we all know what happened there, and we give away a soft goal and we lose 2-1, but that can happen any time. And I think if you take the performance as itself, it bodes really, really well. You then come into Charlton, which, okay, the record's the record and it's hyped up and it's 12:30 live on Sky, and I think it's more of a potential banana skin than you think. And we were magnificent in terms of scoring 4 goals. But I didn't actually think we played that well. I thought they were awful. I didn't think we had to get out of second gear to win 4-0. Aziz is amazing. There's no other words for him. He is our talisman. He is the new Jed Wallace. He is arguably better than Jed Wallace because he can go left foot and right foot. And probably he's the best winger in my time going down there. And I am of the vintage of 35 years. So I didn't get to see Jimmy Carter or George Lawrence or a Knicks version of Trevor Lee. But I would be really struggling to say what Femi Aziz doesn't have as a Millwall winger that I like. So, yes, Femi Aziz, outstanding. Josh Coleman, we've missed the season. And, yeah, realistically, 4-0. Again, like Charlton, it's Charlton's Cup final. It always is. They looked shit. They look like a League One side, well, maybe even a League Two side, and that might actually be unfair on any League One sides or League Two sides because they were abysmal at the back and there for the taking. I think I've seen a stat. We had 21 shots from inside their box. That's fucking unbelievable. That's Sunday League level of domination. That's a team playing from a different division. That's Premier League against a non-league side in the FA Cup. I'm not trying to rub this in. It's just a fact. And we didn't have to play well. But again, we are this good as a side, as a squad. We haven't had our best players available all the time to us for large periods of the season. We sit where we sit. We're 6 points off second. This is the year. This is the year. You have to, the playoffs have to happen. And trying to catch the top 2 should be the aim, because we are quite comfortably one of the best 6 sides in the division. We've got the best or the second best clean sheet record. If the club want to support Alex Neil, and if the Barry Banham thing is true, he's the 3rd highest chance creator in the division, we will score more goals or get more opportunities to score goals. But also, we, in my opinion, should be looking, if we are getting rid of Langstaff, we should be looking for a goal scorer, a finisher, someone that has been there and done it. Now, I don't know who's available. Your guess is as good as mine. But we do need someone that is just going to put the ball away. A bit like when we tried, well, we did sign Dion Dublin. A bit like that. We need someone like that that's just been there, got a promotion, someone that's going to help us just get over the line, maybe get 5 or 10 goals between the end of the season that are going to be key goals. I'm not looking, and again, I think the Banham thing at 36 and everyone talking about that, it's just to get us over the line. That's what the club are looking at. And that's really good. And I've probably prattled on for far too long now, but yeah, again, well done Millwall, well done X-Nil. Quickly, one more thing. Tristan Kramer is the best defender in the Championship. I'm not having it any other way. Our right-hand side is the best in the Championship. I'm not having it any other way. Tristan Kramer and Femi Aziz will not be Championship players for long. So enjoy them while you can. Let's hope they're not Championship players next season with us in the Premier League. Say it very, very quietly, though, as the FA Lizard people will send us Gavin Ward more than one time between the end of the season. Arrivederci Millwall.
Fantastic. Good to have you back, H. Get on more often, mate. There's a demand for your opinions online. People have been asking where you are. Good to have you back. I agree, 100%. This must be the year. We are as close now as we've been since the early 2001 to early 2000s, the McGee season, the playoff, which was, as close as we've been. Should have got closer still with the level of squad there. Harry makes a great point about Dion Dublin coming in as the experienced striker. I don't know either who's out there or what we're looking at. I'm hoping we're looking at somebody. I like Macaulay Langstaff, but he is a very, very willing workhorse League One, League Two level striker. And I'm not knocking him. The boy's come in. He's scored goals at a lower level, and that's great. There are levels in this game, as we all know. But we do need to finish some of these chances. We were desperately unlucky on Saturday not to put more into the Charlton net. We had opportunities at Coventry. Harry mentioned Coventry, we played really well, but we did have opportunities up there. We need the ruthlessness, and we need to get over the line. We have 17 games, I believe it is now, as we record these notes, and then a shot at the big time lies as the pot of gold at the end of that particular rainbow. I think we do have in Femi Aziz and in Tristan Kramer, actually. I mean, two of the most promising players. Not promising, they're delivering. You don't promise implies jam tomorrow. They're both delivering. Tristan Kramer and Femi Aziz, both Premier League level players, in my humble opinion. Femi especially. Is he the best winger? I think he could be. Harry. The names that you mentioned, I mean, the only one that would really maybe compete with Femi is the likes of Jimmy Carter, who did perform in the Division 1, the old Division 1. From what I've seen of Femi, he has an inventiveness. Maybe Paul Eiffel reminds me of him. He has an inventiveness and an ability to change a game, which is a very rare commodity at the Den. I would certainly put him in the conversation of Mill's best winger. Obviously, he still has to deliver the complete goods like Jimmy did, and Paul Eiffel did as well. Actually, got us to a cup final, didn't he? But I really, really like him. Bannon, all I can tell you about Bannon is what I've read online. The chance creation statistic that Harry mentions is obviously going to be crucial, because goals will get us over the line. And in the end, that's what was decisive Saturday. We kept at it. This team is persistent. Alex Neil is a manager that keeps going for the win. I love that. And we got over the line against a very poor side. But, as I've said on previous editions, we've struggled historically to beat teams that aren't very good. We seem to raise our game against better opponents. But there we are. Big thank you to Harry Warren. I'm going to take a very short break now for an advertisement, potentially, and then we'll be back after that with Hasan. Stay tuned, dear listeners.
Achtung, Millwall.
All right, Nick, it's Hasan here. Getting another result over the Specky Anoraks down the road. Going into the game, I was quietly confident. I really thought we were due to give someone a good hiding. And to be honest with you, I think 4-0 doesn't tell the full story, mate. Honestly, that first half, it was just ridiculous. The amount of chances we had, and the only thing we had to show for it was an own goal by their player. But, chance after chance, I think all they had in the whole game was one shot, which Crocombe saved quite comfortably. They were bad, weren't they? I mean, if you're a Charlton fan, you must be nervous, surely, because they were fucking terrible. It's probably one of the worst Charlton sides I've seen all the time we've been playing each other. Recently, polar opposite game to the one in September, but it had that all the time. It was 1-0. It felt like what Charlton were when we played them at the Valley. They were the better team. They were on top. They should have maybe got more goals in that game. In our game was going the same way. I was like, all the time it was 1-0. I was shitting myself. I didn't enjoy it only up until we started getting a few more goals. But thankfully we managed to get it over the line and quite handsomely as well. Good goal from Taylor. It's about time he's showing more. He's showing more from corners now. I've just seen the replay of the goal. Hats off to Cooper, because what he does is there's two players on them, one for each, and as the ball comes in, Taylor peels off round to the back post, and Cooper bear hugs him. So Cooper's got two Charlton players in a bear hug, and Cooper's Taylor, is all free alone to put the ball in the back of the net. I knew Negley missed that penalty. I just fucking knew it. Funnily enough, I said to the guys around me that he's going to do a Panika, that stupid chip, and I don't know what he was doing, but thankfully he gets an assist to his name because he cut the ball back. Kundal pokes it in, so that's good for Kundal to get his to get a goal. And probably the best goal of the day was at Mack. Fantastic finish. Hats off to him, who's coming for a lot of shit this season, but a good goal and put the icing on the cake really on a thoroughly deserved victory. And it's something, it's been coming, a 3 or 4-0 battering, and it should have been more. I mean, Coburn, fucking hell, son. I mean, he scored 2 goals from coming back from injury, a lot more difficult goals. The header should have done better, but that one from Aziz where he squares it, fucking hell. I watched it back, right, and he opens his foot out. He don't need to. I just don't get it. He's got that in his locker. He misses gilt-edged chances, and on another day, that really could have fucking come back to bite us. And if we are going to be in the playoffs, one, we need to put our chances away when they come. We're so scruffy in front of goal that it's going to bite us one day. And two, I'll go back to penalties. I don't think we scored a penalty this season. I know Mahalo missed against Leicester. Thankfully, it didn't hurt us. And Negley missed today, and we were awful in the penalty shootout against Palace. So if we are going to get in the playoffs, we may have to face a penalty shootout. We really need to fucking pull our socks up because we can't score penalties. But I'm not going to be negative any more than that. Fantastic result. Keeps the run going. Keeps us firmly in the playoffs. Preston got pumped, so that pulls us away from them. Overall, hats off to the coaching staff. We were magnificent today. We played them off the park, and I've got to say, Nathan Jones, he's a special breed, isn't he? He's right down below us on block 3. He's jumping up and down like a jackrabbit. And you look at the Charlton players, they're looking at him thinking, can you just shut the fuck up? All right, what are you telling us to do now? We're 4-0 down. There's 2 minutes to go. You can just see it, and I think their fans are done with him. I wouldn't be surprised by the time you put your show out, mate, that he's gone. But well done to the boys. Thankfully, that cunt of a excuse my language, that arsehole of a referee didn't influence the game, but he was awful as usual. Man of the match, Arrivederci probably. I thought he was fantastic. A couple of players were a little bit below par. I think Dinor weren't fully fit. He struggled, but otherwise, yeah, magnificent, mate, magnificent, and we keep on going forward. All the best, mate.
Magnificent stuff there from Hasan. I love that description of Nathan Jones, Hasan. Special breed, I think, is a very good way to put it. He would do my head in if he was our manager. We really dodged a bullet missing out on him. And acquiring Alex Neil, who, the evidence speaks for itself, the position we're in, the way we're playing football, listeners. I think Harry's touched on that, Hasan's touched on that. We are playing really, really well. Doughty, I didn't mention it in the previous conversation with Harry. We're talking about Tristan, we're talking about Femi Aziz, but also the balls that Alfie Doughty played on Saturday. Previously, the game down at Southampton, places, his positioning and his ability to place a ball is something incredible. And hats off to him. That's another crucial factor. I'm really hoping that the club are looking at the same game that we're all looking and seeing the chances that are being created. And ruthlessness in front of goal is gold dust in football. I mean, we talk about acquiring a goal scorer. That one that Coburn missed on Saturday was, I think I might have had a chance of putting it in, listeners, and that is saying something. But yeah, I mean, finding the players that can score goals is the ultimate, the prize at the end of the rainbow for every club. So it's not going to be easy. Chance creation is crucial. I think if we keep creating as many chances as possible, and I'm going to guess that's the point and purpose of Bannon coming in, we're in with a chance. I don't know whether Langstaff will be moving on or not. I'd be kind of... It wouldn't surprise me to see his industry coming in as a big plus point, certainly to the end of this season. I think both Hasan and Harry have touched on the same point, that we've got to get ourselves over the line this season, and I think that he does have a role to play, Macaulay, so that won't surprise me. Penalty taking, yeah. I mean, that's. I'm hoping that's the first thing they talk about Monday mornings. We can't be having pushing and shoving with the football between Femi and Camille in future. And final point Hasan made, and I want to mention it, what a magnificent physical presence Jake Cooper is to hold two men back, create the space for Caleb Taylor to have a clear run, easy run, and nod it in with aplomb. He's done that by holding two men enough time to give him that crucial, second to pick his spot. The man is a rock, and it always intrigues me. As I said to Merv on the previous show, I've taken to in a macabre way, a bit like the old ladies that would turn up at other people's funerals just to watch the macabre spectacle. I've taken to looking at the Charlton Live podcast, and they speak in awed terms about some of our players. I think we take it for granted a little. Harry made a good point that we're a very, very good side, and we're coming into peak, it seems to me, at the right moment of the season. So there we are. Big thank you, Hasan. I'm going to play two together. Then I'm going to have Jaime, Mack, and then Matt Richards.
Hello, Nick. Jaime here, calling on this fine Australia Day weekend. We just enjoyed Millwall 4, Charlton 0. I watched it with the 12-year-old son, which was really good. Obviously, absolutely destroyed them in all departments. They very much looked like kind of what we looked like a few years ago. League One players performing at their best. Maybe men like the winger. But in general, and journeymen like Lyndon Dykes, who I think we've tried to sign a couple of times, and it just shows how much we've moved on since then. So, 10 minutes to go. I turned around to my son and said, I really wish we could score now so I could enjoy the last 10 minutes. And in mockingly, he prayed to God, and then Caleb Taylor scored, which was a really, really good goal. I want to highlight what Cooper did. Cooper didn't make a run. Cooper stood still with his marker behind him, and then he moved in front of Taylor's marker, allowing Taylor to have a free header. After that, Raf got a bit greedy. He started praying again. I said, no. 2-0's enough. Don't waste up all our goals. And as soon as he's finished his little prayer, we scored again. And then Mack wraps it up for 4-0. And I think what was quite nice was some Charlton mates of mine said, text me after saying we were lucky to get away with a 4-0 loss. So all good.
Nick, Matt Richards, driving back from the game, stuck in traffic. Oh Christ, I don't know how I'm going to sum that up really. Unbelievable. That did not feel like a 4-0 during that match. Blimey, O'Reilly. We've played a lot better and we've lost, especially the first half. But great, four goals at the Den. Cutman lost, only scored 4. Clean sheet. Can't ask for much more than that really. So buzzing after that win. And that's just what you need. I mean, Charlton. I actually thought Charlton. I don't know if Charlton played They played well in the first half. I think it was pretty 50-50. But we seemed to just let them come at us, and it felt a bit like the game at the Valley, really, where they seemed to want it more than us. They're winning 50-50s and getting in first for balls. Saying that, they never really created anything. And we had how many gilt-edged chances? I mean, we scored the own goal, and then Coburn had a header. Femi had a shot. Femi had he scuffed it. Whether he had a bubble, don't know. Coburn's miss, I still giving me bloody shivers and shakes now. I mean, I was up. I think everyone was cheering. I mean, how that didn't go in, I just don't know. And it just felt like one of those games, just like Swansea and Bristol City, where they're going to equalise against the run of play. But somehow, well, not somehow, but it's 1-0 at half time, and even though we're playing poorly. And I think there's some of the players. The North seemed, and he's coming back. I love Casper, but he's maybe just not match fit. Tristan Kramer was, slightly awry with some of his defending, and we seem to be just like fanning around with it at the back and letting them come at us. But anyway, 1-0, and then you're kind of thinking, okay, let's get a goal. Second half, and we played a lot better in the second half, and Femi was such a danger down the right. Some of the balls into the box, you just think, you've got to anticipate it. But, for straight in the box, just flying across the box, surely the ball's got to just throw himself at it. And it just felt as if, and then goal disallowed, and felt as if we're never going to score. And Caleb Taylor, just like Swansea, they're focusing so much on Cooper, and then he comes in and he scores. Defenders will definitely be focusing on Taylor from now on, because that's happened a couple of times this season. But a great header, fully deserved, just when we thought we weren't going to score. And then we have the penalty. We got a penalty at the Den. Amazing. By Gavin Ward, who's got to be one of the first referees in history to be booed constantly by all the fans before the game. That's a new one on me. And and then there's that shenanigans. I don't know. Like Negley grabbed the ball, and then did Femi wanted to take it, and then Coops had to stand in. And I like Camille Negley. I think he's been playing really well recently, but I just knew. I said to the fellow next to me, he's going to try Panenka, or he's just going to try something too clever for his own good and fuck it up. And he did, and thankfully Kundal, who I thought did really well, Luke Kundal. I'm glad to see him back because he's really industrious, kept the ball. So I'm pleased he's back, fit and ready to play. So that's good. And 3-0, and then Idemo, really pleased for him. Always tries hard. Perhaps not the most gifted of players, but great finish. It's 4-0. So it doesn't feel. They never felt like 4-0 at any point in that game until the fourth goal went in. So really pleased. Great win for the team. Players coming back to fitness. You've got more important games coming up. Sheffield United next week. There were out a couple of players. Tanganga's suspended. So another 3 points is what's needed to kind of keep the momentum going. So fantastic day at the Den. Bloody hell, Nick, you try and sum that one up, because you'll be here all day. Cheers, mate. Come on, you Lions.
Cheers, Matt, and cheers, Jaime, before Matt Richards there. It was a very strange game, Matt, in all honesty. I think your point about how we've played better and lost, e.g. Coventry, I've written in my little notes as you were talking there, is a very valid one, because we put a 4-0 result on the board, so you can't moan, but it was a long game, really, just to be that slender 1-0 up. And missing chances, because we all know how the script goes when you get into these kinds of situations. So the second goal, which was the killer decisive goal for Caleb Taylor, came at a very welcome moment, because I thought, sitting there up there in Birdshit Corner, I'm thinking to myself, I can't handle it if they get an equaliser, which there was a moment where Lyndon Dykes was put through and Jake seemed to stumble, and the referee gave a free kick for something. I think I've read somewhere it was a handball, but in all honesty, and with my fair judge's wig on, listeners, I couldn't see much wrong with it. As it was, his shot was blocked by Max Crocombe, and the other Charlton player put it into the net, but the whistle had long gone by that stage. So, that's football. You win some, you lose some. But that was about the only moment where they looked threatening. But you always have a sense of impending doom in these situations, don't you? Matt mentions the lack of anticipation when Femi or Doughty, I would also suggest, listeners, crossing, but a lack of anticipation by strikers. You're correct, Matt, and it's what we've got to try and aim at. It does strike me that that is the absolute gold level of football striking, anticipating a cross and making a move into the right space at the right time is what the big money gets paid for. We have to aim for that. We have to try and look for it and find it, but it's ain't half difficult to find. If we can then work on what we've got, which is probably the most realistic way forwards, then we've got to keep creating chances, because I think both Coburn, who's willing, and Ivanovic, who's willing in his own way, will need X number of chances before they can get a goal. So I think that's going to be the area. I'm going to guess that's why Bannon is being brought in, as we've mentioned already. The other message, it made me laugh at one point. Charlton started trying to play the ball out from the back like they're Barcelona, and a bit like old Kamil Negli's Panenka penalty. This is the preserve of the very, very best, boys. I mean, the free advice for Charlton there, Nathan, if you're listening. This is the preserve of the European elites playing the ball out from the back. You need players that have maybe fielded for Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, that kind of level. I'm not sure you'll find them in Charlton, and you certainly won't find Panenka penalties, which it looks simple but is one of the hardest skills to master. Leave it to Pirlo, Camille. Leave that to Messi, to players of that standing. And next time, let's sort out who the penalty and just blast it. Do what Ivanovic did and blast it top right hand corner. Final point, Jaime, Mack. It's Australia Day. Big shout out to all of our Australian listeners. I've missed it, so big shout out on Australia Day to all of our Australian listeners out there in the Antipodes. So leading us up to the next advertising break will be David Leadercramer, and then after the messages, if there are any, it'll be Michael Avery. Stay tuned, dear listeners.
Morning, Nick. David Leadercramer on Sunday after that terrific 4-0 win over Charlton. I always approach this fixture with a bit of concern, because the record has been around for so long that one day they're going to finally do it. And when they do, my Charlton friends, and I do have a couple, will no doubt be giving it to me. But it is without question the most one-sided derby certainly in English football. Yesterday, I thought that first half we played well, and certainly, of course, should have been at least 3 up, really, given the fact that Aziz and Coburn missed very presentable chances. Coburn's in particular was shocking miss, really, and that's the player we've got. One day he'll score a very good goal like he did against Watford. And then yesterday he just, really should have just got it on target and would have beaten the keeper, and that would have been 2-0. And I think they would have deflated at that point, and it could have gone on to be an even bigger score. I thought, without being overly critical, that it wasn't one of Casper's better halves. I thought that he looked a bit leggy, although interestingly enough, he seemed to improve a bit in the second half. But the first half, he was a little bit off the pace. But that's enough of the negatives. The positives were that we really looked terrific in the second half. We were all over them. The stats tell the story. I'm not a great believer in XG, and I'm sure you aren't either, but apparently our 3.91 XG is the highest in the Championship this season, which is quite an extraordinary story, really. Special mentions, I thought, for Alfie Doughty, who was absolutely terrific. Again, what a player he is. He's got real talent and can do things that no other player can do in that team. He crosses really well. He can, his long-range passing is excellent. We're really lucky now to have him back. He looks fitter. He looks really up for it, and he's just the player we all hoped he would be. I thought Caleb Taylor had a great game as well. Really assured, nice goal, good technique to get the ball down, and really enjoyed his performance. Shame about Negli and the penalty, because I thought Negli had a really good game too. He's got a lot of class, Negli. He really knows how to use the ball, and he's got time on the ball, and playing in that central position when he can play there. Doesn't always play there, of course. He looked really, really good. Ivanovic looked good when he came on, and the team generally just played really well, completely outclassing Charlton. So it was a fantastic day. 4-0 didn't flatter us, although I couldn't see we were going to get 4 goals midway through the second half. But the dam broke, and they looked completely finished at the end of it. Just a word about Charlton. No idea why they took Sonny Carey off. I thought he was a good player for them. Similarly, I think Tyrese Campbell, who often plays well against us, but can apparently, according to Charlton fans, play very hot and cold, had a very good game, looks a tricky player, and will probably do well at Millwall, actually. But anyway, enough about Charlton. Next week, very tough game again against Sheffield United, of hitting form, beating Ipswich 3-1. And that's going to be an interesting game because although Bamford is suspended for that game now, they do have some very good players in Brooks, O'Hare, Hamer. So they've got some good players, and we're going to have to be on top of our game as before in order to win. But I don't see any reason why we can't beat anybody in this division, particularly now that our players are coming back. And finally, will we get Barry Bannon? I think he would be an excellent addition. He won't play every game, but he certainly has the nous and the sort of ability to make goals, which I think we could really do with at certain points, although that's not taking anything away from Billy or Casper. Okay, so I hope, like everyone else, you're going to have a great weekend, and come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Michael Avery leaving Abbeywood train station now after an incredible Millwall 4, Charlton 0. The reason it's incredible, dear listeners, because it could have been about 9. Charlton were absolutely woeful. Never before, really, when there's big derby games or games against teams who, you know, there's a lot of passion and tension and all that jazz that comes with it. You know, Millwall, Crystal Palace, Millwall, West Ham, Millwall, Charlton over the years. Never gone into a derby game where I've sat there before the game's even started and said, like, we're going to win this. There ain't even going to be the whole, you know, anything can happen in a derby. Charlton are terrible, like, absolutely terrible. And the only thing you can really question from a Millwall point of view is how it weren't more goals, because if you want to be overly critical, you know, Coburn's got to score. Aziz times he's run 2-3 seconds better. His header's in. You know, Negley, there was that one on the near post in the first half. They're a bad side, Charlton, and they just had no game plan. You know, they was playing a back four in the midfield, and they weren't even playing counter-attacking football. They were just waiting for the ball to come to our defence, standing there and watching our defence and seeing if we'd misplaced the pass, and that's the only reason they'd get it. But that said, we were noticeably a class above. I thought we were, at times, vastly superior in the way we were playing and moving the ball. And the reason why I say at times is because I think there were a few times where we got the ball and made a few mistakes for ourselves. But ultimately, Charlton did nothing. And like I said at the end of the game, there's a bit of me with the Charlton fans where I'm thinking, how can you watch this? You know, if this is your game plan and how you play, no wonder. But anyway, that's enough about Charlton. I said the other week on the show that we need to start winning games 3-4-0 to get that goal difference back in the positive. We did. You know, 4 points from Charlton this year. A lot of people were saying it. You know, they've come back up. We've got 4 out of 6 from them. But again, another good win for Millwall and Alex Neil. Could have been more. And like I say, if we had our shooting boots on another day, it would be. But it's. I said the other week on the preview of the second half of the season that it's very, very enjoyable at Mill at the moment. It's good fun. You like going. You know, you're seeing families there going because it's becoming more of a family day out. People want to go. And when you walk away from Millwall Football Club disappointed with a 4-0 win against Charlton Athletic, who has been your rivals, I mean, they hate us more than we hate them. But when you're walking away with a 4-0 win, disappointed at 8 more, it says how well the season's going, really. Doughty, for me, head and shoulders man of the match. I thought Aziz had a good game. Backline, again, good. You know, Taylor had a good game. Kramer, again, was excellent. But I just thought Doughty was just noticeably, the way he moved the ball, his positioning, the way he plays that free roll job very, very well. His passion, his determination to get back and help out. Doughty, for me, head and shoulders best player on the pitch by a country mile. And I'm struggling as to why Stanmore seems to keep giving it to Aziz every week. Not that Aziz had a bad game, but I just think Doughty was just something else. Anyway, come you Lions, 4th in the table. And someone said to me the other day, or I overheard someone on the Elizabeth line the other day say, when I was waiting for a train, 9 minutes, that's a lot of meals. And there was a few meals that were being shouted at Whitechapel train station earlier on with a few West Ham fans and Charlton fans with their head down. So we just ain't got South London bragging rights, dear listener. We've got the bragging rights of London itself. Come you Lions. Hello, mate. Don't worry about ringing back. I was only
basically ringing to say, I don't know if you're going to record anytime soon or tomorrow, but if you've seen the Twitter with Nathan Jones, he says, like, oh, we were second best. Now, I know logically when there's two teams on a pitch, you know, one's got to be better than the other to be second best. But ultimately, I'd argue that, like, I know it sounds silly, but that's not even second best. That's not even bothering to turn up today. So, like, again, this ain't an anti-Charlton thing that much. So I don't really give two tosses about Charlton. But the only thing I will say is that to say that was second best is an insult to teams who put a shift and come up second best, in my opinion.
Got to agree with you there, Michael. They were poor. Putting the capital P in the word poor, dear listeners. Big thank you there to Michael, and before the break to David Leadercramer. The only player, I think David mentioned the 7, who I think is Therese Campbell. He was the only player I thought he might do us. I think David made the same point. Whether he's at the level that Alex Neil and the recruitment team, you know, are looking at, I don't know. But he did look tricky, and you know, that was a standout from what was a woeful display, as Michael so eloquently put it there. You make a good point, Michael, about how enjoyable it is following the Lions at the moment. This is all unfamiliar territory for us, dear listeners. As is the sudden glow of we're not successful yet, but we are at the top end of the table and we're looking good and we're playing a good brand of football. So I'm going to call that kind of success. Certainly beats the drab Gary Rowett regime, doesn't it? But you know, that will attract people. I made the same point on the previous show speaking to Merv, that success attracts people that want to be associated with it. So we're seeing Hollywood stars Sir Gary Oldman, I keep calling him Gary like I'm his mate, Sir Gary Oldman, and Sir Daniel Day-Lewis again, you know, being pictured repeatedly apparently on Sky TV's coverage of the game. Incidentally, I want to give a big shout out to the Millwall communications team to get the photos of, you know, these two Knights of the Realm, but also Oscar-winning actors in some really, really big pictures, Hollywood-level stars, and to get a picture with their Millwall shirts on the pitch at the Den is fantastic publicity. If we do make it to the Premier League, and I say if advisedly because nothing is guaranteed, as we've seen with Wrexham, getting yourself onto a world level of attention is a benefit, and that was a great move by Max McClellan and his team in the communications section of the Den. So I want to say a big well done to them, because one photo goes a long way around the celebrity scene of the world, and that can only be good for filling Den. Another sellout Saturday, of course, dear listeners. So well done to Millwall there. Great stuff there by David and Michael. We're going to play us out now with the final 4. I'm going to play 4 in succession to finish the show, dear listeners. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's submitted. We're going to play out now with Bobby T. We're going to play Mark Barnesy, Mike George and Rob Abbott. Big thank you to everyone for their contributions. Do give me a shout on either X. You can direct message me privately and we'll exchange mobile numbers for WhatsApp, or you can email us achtungmillwall@gmail.com and we can do the same. Exchange your mobile numbers and then you can WhatsApp me anytime with your reaction. I will always do my best to include everyone's messages. If I miss any, I send my profuse apologies. It does happen from time to time. And the more the merrier. You know, I can produce bonus editions like this one, and if we get a lot. So, you know, be great to hear from you. I really enjoy the voice note messages and these editions. So big thank you. So we're going to run now with Bobby T, Barnesy, Mike George and Rob Abbott. Till the next edition from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. And bye for now.
Yeah, hello, Nick, mate. Just got home. I wanted to ask you one more thing. And this is between me and you. Where is Ballo? Injured, or is it for the season, or have we sent him back? Because today, Nedgley was outstanding some moments. Langstaff I told you about. And the other thing is what really think that we're like kids at school. I didn't like Aziz's attitude. He wants to score goals and all that. I get it. And he's different mustard, different gravy. But arguing like kids about a penalty and then Nedgley missed it at the end, and then Cundle scored. But Didn't like Femi's attitude there. Oh, let me take it. And then Nedgley obviously missed. But Nedgley now coming in on the left, and they were playing with Doherty partnership. We got backup of Sturridge on the bench. Forget Joe Bryan now. He's obviously over 80s. And if Brandon comes in and plays in Langstaff's position, because bless Langstaff, Nick Hartwright, for me, Langstaff tries so hard and in the 10 role, like a chicken, even up front. Mahalo's quiet, but if Brannigan comes in and he plus the passes through to Coburn and Mahalo, we could be onto the Premiership. Anyway, take care, Nick. What was out? Have a good evening. Bye for now, Bobby T.
Having just done my goodbyes, listeners, I'm going to interject. Bob asks, where's Bello? I thought he was ill, Bobby. He didn't go to Coventry, did he? I don't think he did. And then there was the reason for him not being up there was that he's not well, and clearly wasn't in the squad yesterday. I like Bello in the sense of he's clearly a talented boy. There's a lot of work to be done in terms of his physicality for me. And it won't surprise me with some of the signings that are being spoken about if he was on loan with us for the season, and there might have to be some hard conversations with the boy about what he needs to do to get to a level where he might succeed in English football, whether that's with us or elsewhere. I don't know. He looks lightweight, but the story the official reason as to why he didn't go to Coventry, I'm going to guess yesterday, is he wasn't very, very well. I don't know what's wrong with him. As for Femi, we've been full of praise for the management of Mill, but you can't have a dispute over who takes a penalty in the 90th minute. You've got to have a designated penalty taker, and that should have been sorted out before the team went on the pitch. If that designated penalty taker is Femi, he's entitled to ask for the ball. And I like a player that is greedy for the ball and wants a goal. I like that. Certainly Camille Nedgley needs to have a good think about how he takes penalties. If we do get into playoff football, as we've said a few times across these shows, we're going to need to get good at penalties. We can't be trying to take Panenkas when there's the big times on the line. I quite liked Femi's attitude there, Bob, because I want to see him get goals, and a greedy player for me, done well in the right spots. I'm all for that. So I can't hold it back. Anyway, that's my interjection done. Big thank you to Bobby T. We're going to come back now with Barnesy.
Hello, Nick. It's Barnesy here. My thoughts on today's game after we've just thrashed the Train Spotters 4-0. Yeah, very, very pleased. Very professional performance. We looked a bit leggy, I felt, in the first half. I think we really kind of were coming to grips with the game a little bit. They were dangerous. The fella on the left, the diver, he was going down quite regularly, wasn't he? And I think Cramer had his hands full a bit there, but we got to grips with him. We obviously scored the first goal. I was hoping it was going to be Langstaff, but it wasn't to be, was it? But we should have had more. Obviously, let's talk about the Coburn miss. He knows what, it was easy to score, I think, there, but it is what it is. He was in the right position, which is great, but it's good to see him back. I don't know if it's Coburn. He has a bit too much time to think about things. I don't know. He'd be kicking himself for not putting it away. And, with us, we need to score goals. We need a goal difference says that. But, second half, I was slightly concerned about going in because I think we were struggling to come to terms with them. Dykes was, he's putting himself about a bit. Referee, I have no idea how that guy's a referee. I'm not helping Charlton out here, but even the foul that they given against Cooper, which was unbelievable. He didn't do anything wrong, did he, that Dykes fella? But I don't know how that guy's a referee. But anyway, second half, we absolutely battered him, didn't we? We could have had a lot more. And, Taylor's header, quality, isn't he? How the hell West Brom let him go, I do not know, but who cares? Femi Aziz, that guy makes us tick, doesn't he? He's just phenomenal. And they couldn't handle him today, and he was just absolutely brilliant. Let's get some players in and shut that window nice and shut so we don't lose any of our players. Him and Cramer down that right, he's fantastic. And then we got the penalty. Femi should have took it, but I know Nedgley needs a goal, and if you look at it on the replay, the goal kick was way off his line, but still, you shouldn't miss a penalty, as they say. But there you go. But he followed it up, didn't he? He didn't let his head drop, and he got the ball, put the ball back in the area, and Crundle, put it over the line, didn't he? So that's brilliant from that point. Then, they were gone after that, weren't they? Absolutely, just didn't turn up after that. Brilliant. And then, then a lovely goal from Marco. Brilliant from him. He's very frustrating player, but he had a few chances, didn't he? And potentially we could have had a lot more goals. But hey ho, we only got 4. We'll take that, and the record rolls on, doesn't it? So well done to Alex Neil. We've had a decent week, even though we lost at Coventry. I think it's exciting times. It really is, and I'm absolutely loving it. So we've got a week off now. I think we've got Sheffield United without Tanganga, so that's a shame. But we go again next week, and I want to enjoy my wine tonight, and I hope everyone else does as well. So it's nice to do one over them again, isn't it? All right, mate, you take care. See you later.
Oh, come, all ye Millwall faithful, and so they did, to watch a demolition of those not so lovable neighbours, Charlton. From start to finish, Millwall battered and bruised the Addicts, the first goal arriving courtesy of some sustained Coburn pressure and an obscure body part of a Charlton defender. And there should have been more, but a combination of bad luck, a howling miss from Josh Coburn, and some atrocious officiating from referee Gavin Ward. But then we expect nothing better from him. So 1-0 at the break. Surely the visitors would offer more than the play acting of Tyrese Campbell in the second half. Well, no, they didn't. If they were poor in the first half, in the second, as the Lions, with the smell of victory in their nostrils, threatened time and time again to add a second. They thought they had it when a Doughty cross was beautifully met by Aziz with a diving header, but a recalcitrant assistant referee raised his flag for offside. But we didn't have to wait long, and Doughty slung another corner in. Caleb Taylor swooped to head home. Almost immediately, the "You'll never beat the Millwall" chant filled the South London air. Charlton's defeat was complete, but not their humiliation. Millwall in the mood and tormented, teased and ultimately demolished them, adding 2 more goals from Cundle and Imarco to not only emphasise their superiority, but to send a solid and undeniable message to the rest of the championship. Millwall are serious contenders. Come on, you Lions.
Afternoon, Nick. Rob Abbott here. Hopefully you're enjoying your Sunday. What a day that was yesterday. What a performance. If that finished 7 or 8-0, no one could have batted an eyelid there. We were so dominant. An excellent display. I was actually having a few drinks with my dad prior to the game, and we were just commenting how well we'd been playing and how many chances we'd been creating the previous few games, and we were saying someone's in for a hammering soon. And yesterday it come and Charlton got hammered. And as I alluded to on another day, it could have been 7 or 8. We were brilliant. I won't lie though, I was a bit nervous around the 60 to 75 minutes when it was still only 1-0 and we'd been so dominant, but the scoreline only read 1-0. It only takes one error by us, or a breakaway, or a freak goal, and the game was levelled, or even a Gavin Ward bizarre decision. But look, that didn't come into it, luckily. Doughty, what a corner, and Taylor heads home. Man of the match. I agree, Aziz got man of the match. He was unplayable for the majority of it. Charlton had no idea what to do against him, but so many others could have been man of the match. Doughty in particular, he just oozes class, doesn't he? He's a Premier League player playing for us. Like, we're so lucky he's a Millwall fan. That's why he's with us. But his delivery for that corner, and even for the Aziz disallowed goal for offside, What a delivery. But I sit in the Coldblow Lane upper when I'm over, and another comment I said to my dad is I've never seen so much goalmouth action and scramble right in front of us. Literally the whole second half was played right in front of us, and I'm delighted that the goals come at the end and we move on to Sheffield United next week. Let's hope we can keep this momentum going. The lads seem to be loving it. Hopefully a few more in the door this week. There's obviously big rumours that Barry Bannon's got to be one of them, and there's big rumours today that Patterson, the goalkeeper, will join. Get a couple more in, more competition. We got more bodies back, and we keep on moving forward. That was a huge up yesterday, but take it easy and enjoy the week before Sheffield United.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?